What is up, guys? I had a whole bunch of questions after posting my last educational post about IBS. Okay, so I figured it would just be easier for me to hop on here and go over everything and explain, what do you do after you've been diagnosed with like a digestive disorder. And there's a whole bunch of different ones out there. All right. And just to preface things, like, I am not a physician. Okay. I personally have been diagnosed with Crohn. So this is from my own experience throughout my lifetime. And, I am a certified wellness practitioner, through my experience with that and clients as well. So just to preface that, if you guys have any questions about changing your nutrition protocol, starting a new supplement regimen, what specific tests for you should have done, you really need to go through your doctor. So just wanted to say that first. But for people that follow me, anybody who wants to know kind of what to do after you've been diagnosed, I just want to hop on here and talk with you guys. So I have been diagnosed with Crohn's. All right, I struggled with digestive disorders pretty much my entire life. Was told that I just had IBS and really there was nothing, that I could do. I just had to manage symptoms. Well, they don't really go over or coach you, what are your next steps into figuring out, like, how do you manage that via nutrition or via lifestyle? That's not really, and it's not your doctor's fault. Like, that's not really what they're there for. They're there to diagnose and help treat you. They're not certified coaches. So I just hope, if you guys take anything away from this, just some tips that are going to help you through this process. One, know that it's not your fault. Don't feel guilty for having specific dietary needs, especially when going out, being social. I spent years just like being devastated if I didn't feel good, and my friends were all going out and I'm like, God, I'm like the odd man, the weird person, because I just don't have any energy to go out. Like, you feel like a loser, you really do. So know that you're not alone. There's a lot of us out there struggling with IBS, IBD, which is inflammatory bowel disease, colitis, Crohn's, a whole bunch of stuff. So you guys aren't alone. There's lots of different groups out there. So the first step, so say your doctor says you have Crohn's, colitis, IBS. They're all a little bit different, and I will post some things specifically about those here, like in the future. But just to reference things really quick, it all starts with your food, really. And this even goes back to like starting with macros or even intuitive eating, like basics, guys. You have to have food awareness. All right, so I recommend keeping a food journal or tracking the stuff on MyFitnessPal, and make note of patterns. Say you notice that you get really bad bloating for a few days after eating broccoli or cauliflower or Brussels sprouts. Those are more gas producing vegetables. And yes, they're healthy, but I'll go back to, we are what we digest and absorb. So if we aren't digesting and absorbing these foods very well, and they're triggering a lot of abdominal pain and problems, then they're just not healthy for us at that particular point. Pete is being a really big ham tonight in our life. So you got to manage those first. And I just want to differentiate, like, there's a big difference between IBS, Crohn's, colitis, digestive disorders such as, like a gut dysbiosis, like candida overgrowth, bacteria overgrowth. Guys, these are all different. And again, I'll go back to talk to your doctor, figure out what tests you need. They're going to pay attention to your symptoms and help you out with that and guide you to what tests you need to have done. For us with like Crohn's, colitis things, they're going to take you through a series of tests that's different for all of us. We all kind of have different symptoms. You're going to have endoscopies done. You're going to have lots of blood work done. You're going to have, things that we do in radiology. So like upper GIs, lower GIs, small bowel follow-throughs, barium enemas, things like that. They're going to take you through a specific course of action that's right for you. You have to go through a physician for that. So just be ready. But once they give you that diagnosis, like, hey, we just think you have IBS, or you've got Crohn's, you've got colitis, food awareness is number one. okay? I had a lot of moms reach out about kids that have been recently diagnosed that are like going to college or young kids, and they're like, we really don't know what to feed them. All right, so let's make note, let's keep a journal, let's start tracking in MyFitnessPal and notice patterns, like when are my symptoms happening and what foods did I eat around that time. All right, I have a really good book over here that I'm gonna share with you, but I just kind of want to reference to make sure that I hit on everything. I try to keep these videos short because no one wants to sit here for like 10 minutes. So some things that we have issues with, myself included, and I don't have a gallbladder either. So like really high fatty foods, some people don't break them down and we have a little bit of malabsorption. So some people do better like on a lower fat diet. And again, this is gonna go back to keeping track of your food. Like when are you getting those bouts of diarrhea? Are you one that gets constipation? Luckily, and this may be TMI, but it is what it is when you're dealing with digestive disorders. I don't typically have diarrhea triggers unless I eat a super high fatty food first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. All right, so that would be something that I would want to note. Like, okay, well, if I don't want to be running to the bathroom, I know I can't eat like a freaking slab of bacon, okay, or half a container of nut butter, which I'll admit I have done both of those things. So make note of that kind of stuff. Caffeine and alcohol, they're delicious and I love them too. But especially if you're struggling with diarrhea, like caffeine and alcohol are probably things you guys want to keep to a minimum, because they do, like with caffeine, it does increase like your peristalsis. So like it's going to make you go to the bathroom more typically. Constipation, like really it can be an aid. Like a lot of people say they can't go to the bathroom unless they have like coffee or something like that in the morning. So just take note. Alcohol, come on guys, like we know that it's not great for our bodies. It's a toxin. I've noticed like I don't have a whole lot of problems with alcohol unless it's super sugary. So just keep it to like, I usually like 2 nights minimum a week, maybe a couple drinks, and you're good. Dairy products, so like a lot of us are lactose intolerant, a lot of us have problems with gluten, a lot of us have problems with gritty foods like nuts, seeds, raw vegetables, raw fruits, like things like that. Carbonated beverages, gas producing veggies, like I said, like Brussels, broccoli, cauliflower. Red meat, because it's hard to digest, so like grind things, eat soft meats. Artificial fats and sweeteners, keep the shit out of your diet, guys. Like, you know, that 80-90% rule, just stick to whole foods, like things that you can digest. You're going to be a lot better off. Fiber, you know, high fiber foods we have problems with, and like lots of fruits. Those are the big things. So some of us need to do the low fat diet, a low FODMAP diet, a low residue diet, and I will go into these in later posts. But first and foremost, when you're first diagnosed, food awareness is everything, guys. And if you have any specific questions about what do I need to eat, or specific about sports or athletics or anything like that, reach out to me. Like, I've lived this my entire life and I don't mind chatting with you guys about it. So hopefully this will give you guys some direction, and feel free, comment, send me messages. I love talking to you guys, and hopefully from my experience I can help you guys get through this too. So love you guys, take care, and have a good evening.